Next on your 24-hour news channel, 2 tries didn't do it. A daring shuttle mission now waits until tomorrow. A 2-car collision in Irondequoit tonight was apparently a rear-end crash. And Lori Simonetti called this her best Mother's Day ever. We'll check on her daughter's progress after a bone marrow transplant. News 10 is next.
Live from WHEC TV, your 24-hour news channel. This is News 10 at 11 with Laura Saxby, meteorologist John Kay with live Rochester Doppler Radar, and Steve Hausmann on sports. This is News 10.
Good evening. Mission not quite accomplished. Our top story tonight is the daring and so far unsuccessful rescue of a stranded satellite in space. 2 of the 7 astronauts on board the Space Shuttle Endeavour today took a spacewalk to try and retrieve the satellite, but only succeeded in causing it to tumble end over end. Dan Molina has been following this touch-and-go mission from Houston.
Okay, Houston, we're trying to figure out how to tell you this.
There was head-scratching going on in space and here at Mission Control. Everyone trying to figure out how badly a huge communications satellite was wobbling, whether there was a chance of grabbing it and pulling it into the shuttle as planned.
It's probably more tumbling than spinning.
Finally, it was clear that the 2 spacewalking astronauts would not be able to grab Intelsat.
Okay, in its current maneuvers, I don't think there's any way we're going to be able to get it.
NASA's Randy Stone.
There are all kinds of reasons that we could have, that this could have happened. We'll try to home in on those and then reduce the possibility of repeating them tomorrow.
It appears that what happened is that in trying to attach a bar necessary to capture the satellite, astronaut Pierre Thuot caused it to jiggle in unmanageable directions. One natural concern, was there any danger that the satellite could collide with the shuttle or injure an astronaut?
Though there was some level of discomfort because you don't have all the information that you'd like to have, I don't believe that we exposed ourselves to any unplanned hazard.
It's likely that the final decision about another attempt to capture that satellite will be made here in Houston at 8 tomorrow morning. 2 other spacewalks to practice space station construction techniques will likely be combined into one. Dan Molina for NBC News at the Johnson Space Center, Houston.
Now, the shuttle astronauts have a good chance of success in their rescue. Things are not as hopeful, though, tonight in Nova Scotia, where 15 miners trapped by an explosion are still missing. Rescue workers continued their search into the night as the Premier of Nova Scotia promised an investigation into the blast at the Westray mine. The bodies of 11 miners were found today. Investigators say they probably died instantly in the explosion. The coal mine where the tragedy happened is about 75 miles north of Halifax. Rochester police tonight say they know who they're looking for in connection with 2 early morning attacks on Wilson Boulevard near the U of R campus. One of them a rape, the other an assault. Police say the man picked up a woman who knew him, tried to rape her, then eventually let her go. About an hour later, police say he abducted a second woman, raped and sodomized her. She escaped about 5:30 a.m. 2 people went to Rochester General Hospital tonight after a 2-car accident on St. Paul Boulevard in Irondequoit. It happened shortly after 8 o'clock, one car apparently rear-ending another. One victim was transported to the hospital by St. Paul ambulance, another by Point Pleasant. Their names were unavailable to us at news time, but hospital officials say no one was admitted. Now, this crash comes on the first day of National Emergency Medical Services Week. Pete Gallivan earlier today spent some time with a crew from National Ambulance.
We're told that about 80% of the calls are for injuries or ailments that are not life-threatening, but those other 20% can be quite serious. So why would someone want to put this much pressure on the shoulders?
It's a real adrenaline rush when you come in on a patient who's very ill and maybe close to cardiac arrest or in cardiac arrest, and you resuscitate him or you save him from going into cardiac arrest. And you know that what you've done has made a difference and saved their life.
It's fascinating to me, and I'm glad that I can be out there to help.
But the ambulance corps is actually only part of the system. Before they respond to a call, they've got to know where to go. And that's where this dispatch center comes in. There are actually 24 phone lines feeding into these computers.
National Ambulance and Home Care, Mr. Brinkman.
The calls come in from a variety of sources, from 911 to nursing homes. And once they're down into the computer, an ambulance is on its way in no time.
Not bad from the time we were notified of a call to the time the ambulance turns the wheels to less than 30 seconds.
All involved in the process concede that no one link is any more important than the next. It's a matter of precise teamwork. Teamwork that deserves recognition. Pete Gallivan, News 10.
Christy Simonetti of Greece spent this Mother's Day in her Seattle hospital room surrounded by her family. The 7-year-old underwent a bone marrow transplant Friday. Her mother was the donor. Lori Simonetti told News 10 tonight that this was her best Mother's Day ever. She had a checkup herself at 3 o'clock today to make sure she suffered no side effects from her part of the transplant. She said doctors said she's looked good. Lori said Christy had a good day, and they're now looking forward to her hoped-for recovery.
I truly believe that this is a real honor to be a donor and to possibly save a child's life, anybody's life.
We talked with Christy's grandmother tonight from Seattle. She said Christy had a slight stomach ache earlier, but that's to be expected with the medication she's receiving. Her parents, Dave and Lori, spent part of their Mother's Day evening at church. Democratic presidential candidate Bill Clinton today took his theme from Mother's Day. Speaking in San Francisco, he called America's system of child support enforcement, quote, laughable. And he blasted the GOP's family values theme, instead saying the Republicans have presided over a decline in family strength. From San Francisco, Clinton goes on to Nebraska for Tuesday's primary there. Across the world, the polls are open at this hour in the Philippines, but it could be days before a winner emerges. There's no clear leader among the presidential contenders, who include Imelda Marcos, the widow of the deposed late President Ferdinand Marcos. Voters will pick a successor to President Corazon Aquino. Thousands of police and soldiers are on alert in the Philippines to guard against any violence. Here in New York State, the children of small businesses or farm owners may have to sell their parents' property when their parents die to pay for the taxes on the gift. That's according to a report to be released tomorrow by the State Business Council. The interest group says family businesses have incentive to leave this state because the state taxes are lower elsewhere, and that, they say, should be incentive for lawmakers to repeal the law. Well, hopefully we're in for a nice week, at least a good start tomorrow, John.
A great start for tomorrow. Lots and lots of sunshine, mild temperatures, but for the first glance, some hazy, perhaps even some fog, and a wake-up number of 52 degrees.
Not a bad number. All right,
John.
John. Thanks. When we come back, the Vice President speaks out, backing the President about L.A. We'll share a bit of background about the Los Angeles police chief and an incident more than 25 years ago. And this is Mother's Day. In Rochester, they shared the day with some new moms at the zoo. And the world's oldest mom was remembered in Florida. News 10 will be right back.
News 10 is brought to you by Colonial Williamsburg.
Praise for the Los Angeles Police Department today from the Vice President of the United States. Dan Quayle told CBS that the officers deserve our, quote, full support. Quayle stressed that the LA Police Department has fewer officers per citizen than many large cities. The Vice President also defended President Bush's response to the rioting. LA Police Chief Daryl Gates is in the hot seat again tonight after criticizing one of his own lieutenants for not properly responding to initial rioting in LA. He's now accused of doing the same thing during the Watts riot 27 years ago. Laurel Erickson has that story.
He decided at that point that he was overwhelmed and took all of his forces, all of the uniformed forces, to the command post at Van Nuys 54.
That's what LAPD Chief Daryl Gates said Friday when he blamed a lieutenant for not responding to the flashpoint of the LA riots, Florence and Normandy, where rioters could be seen beating truck driver Reginald Denny.
That is the opinion that is shared by many, that if we withdraw, the riot will go away. That is not the way you control a riot. That is not the way this department is trained. I do not believe in that. I believe that you go in and you stay and you control the riot.
But when the Watts riot broke out on August 11, 1965, Daryl Gates, commander, ordered the same thing. Ordered officers back to the 77th Division. Pull out. The arrest of a black motorist had transformed a crowd into angry fury. White motorists dragged from cars and beaten. Retired LAPD Sergeant Richard Cox says the dilemma facing Gates and the lieutenant in charge of Florence and Normandy was similar, history repeating itself. After the riot, Gates defended his action, and today the Daily News printed a copy of his report. A sweep of the area on foot was thought to be inadvisable at the time, he wrote, because of a lack of sufficient personnel and a belief that disorder would subside by itself.
It has been a quiet Mother's Day in LA, no reports of any violence. North Korea plans to return the remains of 30 more American soldiers killed during the Korean War. Unidentified sources are quoted as saying the remains will be turned over to the U.S. on 2 separate occasions by the end of this month. More than 8,000 Americans who served in the 1950 to 53 war are unaccounted for. This is the season for college commencements, and today it was Nazareth College. Some 850 undergraduate and graduate students received diplomas during the ceremony at the East Avenue campus. This was the largest undergraduate class ever to leave Nazareth. The commencement speaker was Pulitzer Prize-winning columnist Clarence Page from Chicago. He told students, faculty, and families that everyone must try to make a difference in our world. There were a lot of families, and moms in particular, at the Seneca Park Zoo today. It was part of a celebration of motherhood at the zoo. Members of the human race sharing the spotlight with the newest primate mothers. Zoo Society educators were on hand to share fun and facts with young and old alike. Mothers welcomed the chance to spend the day with their children.
I think it's great. They wanted to see all the, I guess there's new, tigers? They wanted to see the new tigers and polar bears, so they've seen them, but I haven't.
Other activities celebrating Mother's Day at the zoo included face painting for children and a polar bear ambassador to meet and greet the visitors. Basketball, baseball, and lacrosse are all ahead tonight with Steve Hausmann on Sports Sunday. The word here is implosion. A 10-story Miami building is no more. And shortly, John Kay is back to let us know if we've got more sunshine on the way. Your 24-hour news continues. It was a spectacular show, only seconds long, and when it was over, an historic Miami landmark was gone. The Park Lee building is in rubble tonight, imploded to make way for a parking lot. On the count of three, sounds like gunshots rang out and the structure collapsed on itself. The building was famous to many because one side was covered by the famous copper-tone sign of a little girl and her dog. We remember that sign. There it is. You can see it going down there. Copper-tone, sunshine. Maybe we could get those two things together around here.
Well, it looks like tomorrow we may need the suntan lotion. Lots and lots of sunshine is on the way and warm temperatures. Let's go outside and take a look at those numbers right now. It is 59 degrees here in the city. Humidity 78%. Dew point 52 degrees. Barometer pressure is rising. Winds are now calm. That's a good indication of some mild temperatures which are going to begin to work on in. Live Rochester Doppler Radar, we are not detecting any precipitation right now. We do have mostly clear skies. No green across the screen, which is very good. I just made a rhyme. How about that, folks, on a Sunday night? More radar summary, though. Lots to talk about in the midsection of the country. Lots and lots of green. This is from a cold front, which is now pushing through the United States. We have some thunderstorms and even some heavy shower activity. Some more shower activity just off the east coast of Long Island. As we take a look at some numbers around the state, 59 here in the city. Dense fog for Buffalo right now. They have a dense fog advisory posted throughout the overnight hours. 52 degrees there. Along the southern tier, upper 50s. Today's high in the city was 70 and the low was 53. Look at New York City now, 62 degrees, mostly cloudy skies. Lots of clouds. Here's that storm system now. Just spinning off the coast of Long Island. It will continue to track towards the east very slowly. But we do have clear skies over the Ohio Valley. This is our weather for tomorrow, folks. It's going to begin to work on in over the next couple of hours and give us a pleasant day after some morning clouds and perhaps even some fog. But they should quickly dissipate and give us a very pleasant day. As you can see here, the forecast map for Monday. Mostly sunny skies throughout the entire day tomorrow. Daytime high temperatures should be in the middle 70s. So it looks like a thumbs-up day is on the way for back to work on Monday. So the forecast for tonight, what are we looking at? Partly cloudy skies, perhaps some fog, a low number of 46 degrees. Then for the day on Monday, looks like some sun, some clouds at times, mild temperatures, 76 degrees for that daytime high. The 5-day plan shapes up like this. Tuesday, 77 degrees, almost 80. Wednesday, 68. Thursday, 69. And as we close the work week, 75 degrees with an afternoon shower likely.
All sorts of smiles from Mr. Hausmann there, John. He's golfing tomorrow.
Yeah, charity tournament over at Lucas Hill. You said suntan lotion.
Suntan lotion, maybe even a sun hat.
Your putter, your
yeah,
wedge.
I need it.
My foot wedge.
What's going on tonight?
Well, for you moms and dads who decided to stay away from sports on Mom's Day, we will catch you up with lots of playoff basketball and playoff lacrosse next on Sports. Well, the rematch everyone has been hoping for will happen. Nazareth and Hobart will meet next weekend in the semifinals of the Division III NCAA lacrosse tournament. The Golden Flyers won their game this afternoon with Clarkson. Marty Kelly had quite a day. He graduated earlier this afternoon and then went out and scored 5 goals. This first one made it 2-1 as he spun toward the goal and scored unassisted. Kelly then made it 4-2 as he finished it off from behind the net. He'll come out in front and bang it home. He also assisted on 5 goals today. Clarkson did manage to tie things in the first period. We will see Ryan Adams beat goaltender Greg Gebhardt there, but the Flyers took off in the second quarter. Dan Coughlin scored to make it 8-4, and they went from there to the 11-goal win. Nazareth moves into the semifinals next Sunday with their 12th win in 13 games this season. Their only loss of the season came against the top-ranked Statesmen of Hobart, and they hosted Alfred this afternoon. Hobart wasted no time getting this one rolling in front of the home folks. 47 seconds into the game, Bob Wynn in white, putting it in for the 1-0 lead, the unassisted goal. Right there. And it was 3-0 in the first when Jeff Tambroni scored his 100th career goal, a milestone for him, with the assist going to Tim Watt. Hobart's passing game is seen at its best here. Tim DeLoe finishes it off with the pass in front. And Hobart opened up a 5-1 lead when James Patton scored unassisted, one of 6 points he had on the day as he closes and lets it fly. Hobart wins. They'll take on Nazareth next Sunday, the showdown of number 1 and number 2. The other semifinal will have Ithaca and Roanoke going at it. The Blue Bombers rode their 5 goals from their Irondequoit trio of Jim Bianchi, Brian Ferry, and Terry Thompson. And it'll be Yale and Syracuse, one of the Division I semifinals next weekend. Red Wings wrapped up their Ohio trip on the right foot, a 3-2 win in Columbus. As Richie Lewis struck out 9, his mom and dad were in the stands. And Mark Parent, speaking of moms and dads, the big Winds catcher, had a home run in the game. Major League's now a rare home loss for the Orioles this afternoon, who went up against the hottest pitcher in baseball today. The White Sox had unbeaten Jack McDowell on the mound, and he pitched 4-hit ball over 8 innings as he gets Mike Devereaux here to go fishing. The Orioles were less than perfect in the field today. Tim Hewlett will not be able to handle Chris Hoyle's throw here. It'll allow Joey Cora to cross the plate as the White Sox went on to the 5-2 win. McDowell has the league's best 7 wins now. Bobby Thigpen picked up his 9th save. Jose Mesa took the loss. Back-to-back home runs from Jose Canseco and Mark McGuire did the Yankees in today, though Pat Kelly did return. He did crank one out for the Yankees. Toronto over the Angels tonight 4-1. Jack Clark homered twice and drove in 6 for Frank Viola and the Red Sox. Milwaukee snapped a 7-game slide in Texas today. The Twins over Cleveland with 5 in the first at the Metrodome. And Seattle won as rookie Dave Fleming won his 4th game of the season. These are Tommy Lasorda's Dodgers trying to avoid being swept this weekend by the Mets. It's not going to happen with plays like this. Second inning, Tiki Schofield. Now, he later homered, but he lifts his lazy fly toward right center, where Mitch Webster drops it. The run crosses to make it 2-zip. While Sid Fernandez was mowing the Dodgers down, he wastes Eric Davis here for one of his 7 strikeouts. The Mets tie a team record for consecutive at-home wins. The Dodgers have lost 8 of their last 9. 2 Jeff Bagwell home runs led the Astros over the Pirates in 10, while the Cards scored 2 in the 9th to beat the Braves. Terry Mulholland won his 2nd straight and drove in 2 runs as the Phils popped the Padres. San Fran with 5 in the 11th today, and a 2-hitter for Tim Belcher as the Reds raided the Cubs. Still to come, an NBA triple-header, America's Cup, golf, and our Sunday replay. Something new for you when Sports Sunday rolls back right after this. Boy, it has been one busy basketball day here on TV 10 with 3 playoff games today and tonight, including the Bulls and Knicks in prime time. Patrick Ewing and company trying to even things on their home court, but the Bulls had the halftime lead as Scottie Pippen goes wall to wall for the jam. He had 13 today, while his buddy Michael Jordan right there added 29. But the Knicks took over in the second half behind the X-Man. Xavier McDaniel rips down the rebound. Gerald Wilkins finishes it off, and we will see Wilkins again after the Ewing rebound and the outlet pass. Wilkins had 17 for the Knicks, who won by 7. A game that saw the Bulls coach Phil Jackson ejected after 2 technical fouls. They move back to Chicago now, tied. Celtics and Cavs are even after Cleveland's overtime win at the Boston Garden this afternoon. Celtics were hoping to ride the Larry is back vibe as Larry Bird returned after 5 months on the shelf. He did hit his first shot of the day, and Boston did have a first-half lead, but this one ended up going into overtime where another Larry took over. Larry Nance hitting 6 of his team-high